by far the most profound and moving and heartbreaking story that I've come across so far is one of the law enforcement agencies I was doing ride-alongs with. They have a youth program that seeks to educate youth about local law enforcement, to recruit them and to supporting their work and possibly even joining the force. And it's in many respects, it's a really positive program. The kids get to go on ride-alongs, they do different community activities. Officers take a really active role in mentoring them, and so it's a really great program. And there was, in one particular instance, there was this youth who just really outshined the other people in the program, and he eventually won the award of the year for this program. And his goal was to go to college and then come back and join the force. And I mean, that's all he talked about, and he just won the heart and soul of the officers that he worked with. And then there was one afternoon where his father was driving in South Texas and was pulled over by a local cop in South Texas, and the cop said, well, I'm going to have to arrest you. I think it was for a minor violation for a broken taillight on a trailer or an improperly hitched trailer. And the cop decided to make an arrest, and he allowed the father to make a phone call to the family in Austin and say, hey, can you come down, pick up the vehicle? So the entire family loaded up, drove 3 hours south into the valley, and within 24 hours, they had all been arrested and deported because the county that they were in was enrolled in the criminal alien program in secure communities. And the officer responding decided to detain and arrest them all. And this individual, it turned out he was undocumented. He had spent his entire life since he was 1.5 years old in the United States, did not speak Spanish, never been to Mexico, a completely foreign country to him. But he was an immigrant, and his parents had crossed the border, and they had spent their entire lives in Austin, Travis County. And now the youth is fighting for his life. He's been recruited by the cartels, by different cartels that beat him up. They're aware that he has law enforcement training. They want to get him involved. He doesn't want to. And he chats regularly with the officers here locally. How can you get me out of this? Is there any way to bring me back? And when I asked the officer about, like, how does this make you feel to know that this youth that you've been participating with for the past year that won this big award, that his dream was to be like you, and now he's deported and there's nothing that anybody can do to get him back? Like, how do you experience that? And he said, you know, it makes me, there's no words to explain how unjust I feel this is and how unfair. And I feel helpless, I feel confused, I can't believe that this could happen. And then I asked him, you know, a pause goes by for several minutes, and I asked him next, well, what can you tell me about secure communities? And he's like, nothing, I don't know what it is. You know, what is that? And I explained to him what it was. And then he said, well, you know, I really don't see what that has to do with me. You know, my job is to enforce the law. And when I go out in the field and there's a violation, I have to make a decision about how to respond to that, and I have to follow certain protocols. And I said, well, but say you decide to make an arrest, do you not worry about the consequences of maybe that routine arrest that you've made 100,000 times before could end up reproducing the story that you just explained to me? And then for a moment he paused, and it just all of a sudden dawned on him of the complexity of the issues and how it's not just so simple that he is doing his job and he's doing a great job and he's following the protocol of what he's supposed to do. But in addition to that, it's having this unintentional consequence of ripping families apart and destroying dreams of people who have so much to offer the law enforcement community itself. And it was this kind of an epiphany that went off of, wow, you know, he was silent. You could see him pondering the gravity of the situation and a little bit helpless about resolving it because he does have his priorities as a law enforcement agent.